alone. Now, did you have any children since then?
Nope. And
okay.
And after the abortion, it's sad because sometimes I think about like what if, and I get emotional when I'm around other little kids and stuff like that.
Because you're thinking about the possibility that you may not be able to have children, right?
Mhm. And
so
still,
how does that make you?
Sometimes I still miss my baby, even though
And it's still, you said the key word, it's still your baby.
Yeah.
So would you agree to someone getting an abortion if they're told by their doctor? Because this is another thing that women, a deciding factor, Mr. Unregulated, is that you get pregnant and you have this doctor come to you and they say, well, your child is going to be disabled, or we see some bad chromosomes, or we see this problem with the child growing, and you can take a risk and have this baby, and it may be a 60% chance that something be wrong with it, or you can go ahead and abort it in advance. Now, would you be okay with that type of abortion, or you feel like, what do you have to say, your response to that?
Yes. Who was that question directed to?
To Demisha. I wanted to know, and you can comment too. What do you think about the women who are asked to get an abortion due to the baby may be disabled? You know, when you're pregnant, the doctor does run these tests, and then they come back and they say, well, this could be wrong, that could be wrong. You may want to go and abort now.
No, I don't think that's okay. I don't think I can do that one either.
And is that because of what you previously been through?
Yes.
Now, what about you, Mr. Unregulated? If the doctor gave you that decision, would you be more likely to say, because these are things that happen and things that women have to deal with, and if you don't have a man, she got to make that decision on her own.
Well, you know what? To all the young ladies out there listening, you don't need a man to raise your child. You don't need a man to love your child. That would be help. That would be added help, and that would be support. But this child didn't ask to come into this world. So, I mean, when this child is inside the woman has to nourish this child. I mean, this child is being loved, from day one. So to think that I need a man, or to think that I need to get my education first, or whatever the case may be, I would say don't think about that, because God's going to make a way. God will make a way. And as far as the child having some birth defects or being disabled, you know what? I'm a strong believer that the doctors can be wrong. One, two, if the child is disabled, this child has your blood. This child is a part of you. So I mean, this child still should be loved. That's like talking about, and I had to wrestle with this before, because my 9-year-old has an older sister, and his sister, had him cheering in the house one day when he was about 5 or 6, and I immediately stopped that, because with the way the world is today, children can be misled, and next thing you know, they're participating in homosexuality, and then they're confused about their sexuality. But I had to conclude that, you know what, if my child was to turn out to be gay, I'll never say it to him. But inside, the love for my child is not going to change, even though I'm very opposed to same-sex marriage and all of that. For each his own. I have gay friends and bisexual friends and everything. But for my child, what I want for my child is to be able to grow and mature as a boy, a young man, and into a man as which he was intended to grow. So. But if that does not happen the way that it's supposed to happen, I'm not going to lose any love for my child. That's my baby. The love is not going to leave.
So basically, you're saying you should love your child whether they're disabled or they have a handicap. No matter what may be going on, you got to love your child like they did back in the old days. The older moms, they love their child regardless of what's going on. And they took care of their child no matter what happened. Now, Demisha, do you have your dad in your life? Are you and your dad have a close relationship?
We do, but he's in jail. He's been in jail since I was 5.
So do you believe that if your dad was around, maybe this wouldn't have happened, or maybe you would have went ahead and had the child because you would have had that male support? Because I'm looking at it as though a lot of young girls don't have that male figure, and whether the boyfriend or the child's father say no, I believe that a granddad or a dad or, uncle stepping in would change, the turnout. What about you?
Yes, I do believe that. But I also don't want to, put the blame on him or anything like that.
No, we're not putting the blame. We're just trying to discuss these things because our viewers are going to be listening. Someone can't talk to their daughter or their child about this, or someone may not be able to open up to anybody. But hearing this show and hearing this interview and hearing you talk about it can help them to, maybe change their mind or, not be as depressed and come out of how they're feeling about, like he said, letting society make the decision for you, because that's what it is, what's your perception of what people are going to think. And a lot of times it's just in your mindset. So you have, the blessing is that this whole incident birthed God's giving. Tell us what that is.
God's giving is when I go out and, I feed the homeless, give them clothes and things like that.
Okay,
and
so you go out and
invite them to my church.
Okay, and go ahead and shout out your church.
Hey, Emmanuel House. They also do recovery. We have a recovery program also.
You got excited. Now, do your church talk a lot about abortion? Because a lot of churches don't talk about it.
You know what? We don't. See? We don't talk about abortion.
You might need a ministry in there for abortions.
Yeah.
So in Detroit...
That's definitely needed. That's definitely needed in all our communities, ministries about abortions. I mean, that is definitely needed because there are so many women who go through this every day.
Yeah.
And they need someone who's been through it to talk to them. They need people to give them advice from both sides of the field to help them make a decision, because we don't want these young ladies and women to go forward into their future and always have regrets.
Yes.
So I think the main thing is that, and what public perception should change to be, is that there's no kid left behind. All kids should be loved, and I mean, regardless of what the situation is, there are women who have come out of households with 6 or 7 brothers. No father. The mother's on drugs or whatever the case may be. They get pregnant, and they struggle through life a little. They struggle, but then things start to get better for them. They start to get better and better, and I know a young lady that was something like that, and now she's doing really good. She makes almost 6 figures. Her kid is a teen now. The kid is a teen. The kid is mentally stable and healthy and everything, and the best thing, and I asked her, she told me the best thing in her life was her child. Because through all the struggles and all the hard stuff she had to see growing up, her child was the closest to her. Her child was not only her child, but it was her best friend. That's the person, and I can attest to that, because when I'm sick or when I'm feeling down or alone or lonely, I call my son in the room and I hug him and I hold him for 30 seconds to a minute, and it makes, our heartbeats together, it just makes a difference. I can't explain it, but whatever the problem may be, it changes when I'm holding him. Because I'm holding what I love the most in this world close to me. So nothing else.
That's what a lot of people need, love.
Yes.
I think that they need love and looking for love in all the wrong places.
I want to go back a little bit about the regret part when you said ladies have regret about their abortions. It was a lot of times where I had really bad dreams about my baby crying, yelling, "Mommy, please don't let them kill me," and stuff like that. I was having those dreams for almost, I didn't get rid of them until last year. Last year when I finally prayed about it, because I never did. I never think to pray about it, but I finally did. I got rid of that. I don't have no more dreams, nothing.
And you know what? Sometimes it's, when you said you never thought to pray about it, because you just, sometimes, like after you did it, you just want to kind of tuck it away. You want to cry it out, and you want to kind of like make it disappear, because it's like, you almost feel like a murderer. Then you feel you got so many things going through your head of, maybe I shouldn't have. But it's one of those things that you just can't take back. you just can't take back. So I think that counseling, like Mr. Unregulated said, and ministry and support groups need to be here for women that are getting abortions in some type of way where it can be secret, because a lot of times you go in there secretly. Now, when you went into the clinic, did you notice the depression and how the energy was so low and it was so thick, the air when you go in there, and everybody's not really any excitement. You know, women will be faking, girl, I got to get this, I got it. But when you look around and you go into that after room, you know, after you get the abortion, it's no good energy. Everybody's just feeling bad, depressed. And you walk out of that place with your head hung low.
And it was this younger girl. She was 13 in there getting an abortion.
Woo!
And I was like, you know, wow.
And see, Ms. Unregulated, now I know you said that perception, you know, of the world and society. Now, what about a 13-year-old? You know, now I'm pretty sure her parents pushed that. Oh, you're going to go and get this abortion, when they should also think about why was she having sex at 13?
Yeah. Her mom was being so mean to her, too, at the clinic.
See?
Yeah, and that's going to be traumatizing for her for the rest of her life if she doesn't see counseling. But, you know, at the age of 13, I still will hold fast to what my beliefs is. She may not be ready to be a parent, but if she has that support of her, I mean, the child has a grandmother, grandfather, aunts, uncles, and things like that. Those are the people who need to step up and say, you know what, we really don't know how this happened. It probably shouldn't have happened, but it has happened, and this child is a gift. So we have to love this child and push this child and allow this child to do God's will. You know, you have to, because we're all here for a purpose.
That's right.
You know, knowing that we were going to have this conversation on the phone today, I got a question that, you know, and I picked some questions out from the men. And one of the questions that I got more than one question about the same topic is this, and I hope that you ladies can answer or give us some insight, is that when a woman is impregnated by force or raped, does that change or should that change her decision as to whether she keep it or not?
Woo!
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one because
I would say yes. Because my friend, she got raped by her father. I don't want to put her business out, but yeah, and she kept her baby, and she hated her. She hated her daughter, and she was being very mean to her. And I was like, you know, you shouldn't do that. It's not her fault. So that's a tough one. I don't know.
And for me, I think I agree with that. It's like, it's really not the hate sometimes for the child, but it would be like, I don't want to keep nothing of that situation because it's like a reminder. But then I've met women who have children from a situation like that where they were raped, and they love that child even more because they say, well, this was the blessing from the pain that was taken from me. So it's kind of like you just don't know. But I think that that's the thing that they were fighting for with the abortion rights, is that it's a woman's choice, that if she's been raped, that she should have that ability to be able to get rid of that child. But I agree with what you're saying, Mr. Unregulated, about that child being a child of God, because there's a gospel artist, William, the one who sings that song, is working. I can't think. His name is William something, but his song sings in the beginning how, you know the name?
Is it Murphy? William?
Yeah, I think it's William Murphy. Where he talks about why he say, oh, "You're not a mistake. You're not a mistake." And he was saying how his mom and dad were young in church, and the church told them to that they should get an abortion, but his mom decided to keep the baby, and look what happened. He's now a worldwide known traveling gospel artist. So I get that. That's hard, though. I mean, that is hard. Because how do you ever get that dad around? That's a hard one.
Yeah.
What would you tell your daughter? Just think about your daughter. What would you tell your daughter if she said, "Daddy, I was raped and I just found out I was pregnant"? Would you want her to keep it or?
Well, the first thing is, again, the child didn't ask to be here. Under those circumstances, I think the young lady should look at it as, and the young lady's family, I don't know, depending on the age, should look at it as a blessing to have an addition to the family. But the justice system needs to do something to make sure that the perpetrator of this rape has absolutely no idea, no contact whatsoever. This person needs to be locked behind bars with no phone or anything. Or this person, this person needs to be somewhere where they, I don't have the answer for that, but I know that the problem will come if I have this baby, the guy that raped me is coming home in 20 years. Is he going to look for his son or daughter?
Exactly.
Or when I see this guy again, so there has to be something set up to where.
But see, the thing is, you have to think about the child, because what if you take the parental rights away and this child get older and say, I want to see my dad? Because
I was just about to ask that question.
Not going to hate the dad.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. The parent has to deal with all the emotional stress and everything that happened, but the child doesn't. So the child, my thinking is that the child should not know what happened or how this birth happened until they're of a age of understanding. And
which
then
means
that child,
they're an adult or a teenager, and then what if they get 21 and they want to confront their dad?
Well, that's their prerogative, because first of all, the child may want to confront their dad, but if the mother cared for this child and loved this child the way the child was supposed to be loved, then the child is not going to turn their back on their mother. They're just curious about, who is this man? Do I look like him? Why did he do this? Is he a bad person really? So there are a lot of questions, and you have to allow that person, once they become an adult, to seek the answers.
And you have to also tell them what happened, that they were raped. This is good, you guys. This conversation is bringing up a lot of questions that need to be discussed when they're going for, this pro-abortion or getting rid of it. And it's like, we have to think about both choices and both sides, because we can't make that deciding factor for people. And abortions, I can say, bring on a lot of depression, a lot of stress. Yes. And then, having a child, like she said, out of rape can bring on a lot of hate. So this has been a really good conversation, Demisha. I hope that this forces you, or pushes you, not per se forces, but pushes you to start this type of ministry in your church and let your church hear this interview, because this got deep. I'm so glad we had a male on to give his opinion, because we can't leave the dads out, because just to end, this is what I want to ask. My final question to Mr. Unregulated is, now, not saying, I know you wouldn't do this, but let's say in your past you had raped someone and you were reformed, you went to prison, and you got your life right, you in college, you came out doing great, and now you want to meet this child. Would you push for to see this child? If this is the only child that you've had, you've heard about this child, would you want to see this child and face your fears and what you've done?
Well, let me put myself in that situation, so that's how I'm going to answer you. After being confined for so many years, if I was truly rehabilitated and if I found God, then yes, I probably would want to meet the child. I probably would want to explain to the child, look, I am sorry for hurting your mother. I was not in the right mind. I was on drugs. I had a problem, whatever the case may be. I had no direction. Because there are reasons why people do these things. And once a person is rehabilitated and they find God, then you have to look at it in another way. You have to say, you know what? Although it wasn't right back in 1970 when it happened, but now it's 1999, and I'm coming home. I found God. This young lady or the young man or whatever the kid may have been is grown, and this kid is contributing to the world, maybe a scientist or engineer or whatever the case may be. So now, this was something that was meant to be. It happened. It happened this way for a reason. It probably was a lesson for the young lady not to put yourself in situations where you can be raped, or it probably was a lesson for this gentleman. Look, you should be dead or you should be incarcerated for the rest of your life, but you're not. You're actually going to have a chance to come home, get your life together. God does things for different reasons. So, I mean, when things like that happen and a person is not really a bad person or the person was on drugs or something like that, no, it's not right when you do it at the time. But if you find God, if your life is changed and you are rehabilitated, then yes, I think you should be able or you should be allowed to come and explain and be apologetic and to do any support you can towards that mother and that child.
And also accept that if anyone's listening who is in this situation, although you want to go and you should apologize and ask for forgiveness, you also have to accept that child hates and can't stand you and don't want to be involved with you. Then you have to now pull back because you've done your part. You apologize, and now you have to pull back and allow that child some time and space to forgive and be able to pray and talk to God and be able to come back and speak to you. So, because some people get pissed off and they get mad, and things like that. Demisha, you still there, Demisha?
Yes, I'm here.
I thank you so much for joining us, young lady, and because this is great because you're in your 20s, I'm in my 30s, and I'm not going to say how old, Mr.
I'm in my 20s, too. Don't speak for me. Hey, but before
regulate, I had to bring the other side out a little bit.
Right. Before we go, I just want to say one thing. I want to say something. It's in my head, and Stubbs, this is like one of my favorite things to say. For the young ladies who are going through this situation and that had their baby inside of them, and you're contemplating abortion, and for the ladies who have already had the abortion, they may regret it, but they still need to hold their head up high. So this is what I'm gonna say. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, and apply that song to the baby inside you, or apply that song to your life after making the decision not to have the baby. You still have that light inside you. Let it shine. Hold your head up. Good things will come. Another baby will come to you. God will work it out for you. Yeah. And I would sing that song for you all tonight, but I'm kind of under the weather. It may come out like Mike Tyson or something singing it. So.
Like his lights is off, okay? But that's good I'm glad and I'm thankful that you said that because you're right. That light is your light to shine. And don't feel bad, for the decisions you had to make. He is totally true with what he said when he said that nothing is, just happens. God does not make a mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Everything happens for a reason, even if you don't understand it right now. But to all the women who are pregnant and they're letting society, family, and other people help them make the decision to abort, I want to encourage you to keep that child because, like he said, you can have the next gift to this world, and God is just using you as the vessel to push it out and bring it through. So it may seem like it's going to be hard right now because the devil likes to push things on our mental state and our emotions to put fear into us, to make us do things that God wouldn't want us to do. So you have that child, and out of nowhere, all the support, the money, and everything that you need just shows up out of nowhere because you can make it. Demisha, I thank you for joining us here on the Stubbs Show Unplugged. I thank you for calling in all the way from Detroit, Michigan, and telling your story. You have so much courage, young lady, and I want to inspire you to keep going, to take your ministry further. I hope that this interview opens doors, that other people listen and hear it, and they want to interview you, and they want to bring you on the show, and they want to push and support you in your God's-given ministry. But before we go, and in order for them to do that, they got to have your contact information. So go ahead and let them know how they can connect with you and how they can show you some support. And if you have any events coming up, let them know, and your church information especially.
Okay. You guys can just follow me on social media. I have Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, anything. My name is Demisha Dene.
Spell that last part because we'll be spelling it
Dene?
all different kinds of ways.
Oh, yeah, Danae.
Okay.
And you guys can just follow me and check out my posts. And also my blog, releaseinnerselfenemy.com.
All right, and we'll be putting that information up on our Facebook, and we'll connect with you on the page. Make sure you guys stay connected to the Stubbs Show on Facebook, and make sure you follow me on Instagram at Stubbs_the brand. You can also check out my boy, Mr. Unregulated, at
Mr. Unregulated for you. That is my Instagram. You can reach out to us, and Denisha, please, if your church is having an event, invite us up. We will try to make the trip up there. And
okay.
And my name is Mr. Unregulated for a reason, so I'm gonna let you know why it's Mr. Unregulated.
Oh, God.
Detroit basketball. I love
always do something.
I love whenever I'm watching the Pistons on TV. I love when they say that. Denisha, have you heard that before?
Yes.
Yes.
So, thank you for joining us. You have a wonderful day. This has been.
I just would like to say something. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to
go
say.
ahead. No, go ahead.
For all the ladies who already had an abortion, God has already forgiven you. Just remember to forgive yourself, because that's what I struggled with for years, forgiving myself, and I finally did. And for my teens, I would say be celibate, but you know how that is. If it happens, please use protection. And if you slip up, don't be afraid to talk to your parents or anybody, and you can work it out.
And you can also connect with Ms. Denisha Dene on social media. Inbox her, teens. If you're scared, inbox her. She can help you with talking to your parents or helping you to get some resources that you may need, but helping you to feel settled with not getting that abortion. Keep that blessing. Keep that baby. Keep the babies. All right, you guys, we got to go. It's been a wonderful day. And
thank you for having me, guys.
No
problem, Denisha.
You're welcome.